Welcome to the lecture series of operating system, and in this lecture I will explain you one of the CPU scheduling algorithm, that is first come first serve CPU scheduling algorithm. So what is CPU scheduling algorithm? We have already discussed. There are two types of CPU scheduling in the operating system. One is preemptive CPU scheduling, another one is non-preemptive CPU scheduling. So the first algorithm that we are going to discuss is first come first serve algorithm, that is non-preemptive CPU scheduling. This is the very simplest CPU scheduling. The process that requires the CPU first is allocated to the CPU first. The implementation of the FCFA scheduling policy is easily managed with the FIFO queue. You can see in this example, there is a room and person outside the room is waiting for the for to enter in the room. So you can see they all persons are in the queue, and the first person that is near to the room will enter in the room. After that, that is behind to the first person, second person will get the enter in the room, after the third person, after the fourth, and so on. So in the same way, in the operating system, use FCFS order to allocate CPU to the process that is ready and waiting for the CPU in main memory. When a process enters in the ready queue, its PCB is linked into the tail of the queue. You can see in this diagram, there is the head and tail. So that the place where the first person or first process will reside is the head of the queue, and the tail is the last place where the process reside. That means the process, that one process that comes in the last. When the CPU is free, it is allocated to the process at the end of the queue. The FCP scheduling algorithm is non-preemptive. Once the CPU has been allocated to a process, that process keeps the CPU until it releases the CPU, either by terminating or by requesting input-output. The FCFS algorithm is thus particularly troublesome for time-sharing system, where it is important that each user get a share of the CPU at regular intervals. For example, you can see that in the example you will get a problem like this, where you will get a table and the table has two columns. One is process and the next one is the watch time. The watch time is the execution time, that is the time for which a particular process will get CPU for executing. So here you can see that in this example there are three processes, P1, P2 and P3. That is and the first time of the P1 is 24. So for 24 millisecond, CPU will be given to the P1, and for 3 millisecond, CPU will be given to the P2, and for another 3 seconds, CPU will be given to the process P3. So one thing we have to remember that in the time of FCP scheduling, the arrival time of the all process P1, P2 and P3 will be 0. So these all processes will come in the memory at the same time, that is 0. So for solving this problem, or for showing that the how these process will be executing in the system, or how these process will get CPU, we will use a Gantt chart. So this is the Gantt chart of the these this table. So here you can see that if the process arrive in the order of P1, P2, P3, here you can see in the table the P1 comes first, after that P2 and after that P3. They all come at the time 0, but the you can see the sequence of the process P1, P2 and P3. So we can assume that the P1 is first, P2 is second and P3 is third, and served in FCFS order. So in that case, the process that is first in the table will get CPU first, after that. So in our case, P1 will get CPU first, then P2 will get CPU, then P3 will get CPU. So in the Gantt chart is the time chart. In that we will start from the 0 time. The time is in millisecond. So if you see in the table, At time 0 there are three processes P1, P2 and P3. What the P1 comes first, so P1 will get CPU first and P1 will hold CPU for how much time? 24 seconds. Remember that this is non-preemptive scheduling, so we cannot forcefully take the CPU from the process. So if we assign CPU to a particular process, it will release CPU only when it will get executed completely. So P1 execute and P1 hold the CPU for 24 seconds. So you can see that the P1 is running from time 0 to time 24, and when when P1 will get executed completely, it will release the CPU and CPU will be assigned to the process P2, and P2 will take 3 seconds from time 24 millisecond to 3. It will completely executed at time 27. After that the CPU will be assigned to the process P3, and P3 also will hold the CPU for 3 seconds, and it will terminate at the time 30 milliseconds. So this is the Gantt chart of the our problem. So we need to find the average waiting time. So how we find the average waiting time? So average waiting time is the time for which a particular process has waited in the ready queue. So here you can see that all the process all the process has arrived at the time 0, and you can see here in the Gantt chart the time at the time 0. First the process that got the CPU is P1. So P1 arrived at time 0 and got the CPU at time 0, so it will not wait in the ready queue. So the waiting time for the P1 is 0 millisecond, and the P2 process also arrived at time 0, but it got the CPU at time 24. So it has to wait for 24 millisecond, and P3 also arrived at time 0, but it will have to wait for 27 seconds, because the first time the P3 process got the CPU is 27 milliseconds. So waiting time for the CPU waiting time for the P3 process is 27 seconds. So average waiting time is the sum of the waiting time of all the process divided by total number of process. So 0 plus 24 plus 27 divided by 13, that is 70 milliseconds. So in this case we got 70 millisecond as the waiting time for the processes. If we change the sequence of these process, if we change the sequence of this process, the waiting time will be something different, or it will increase or it will decrease. So that is the drawback of the FCFS. In FCFS scheduling algorithm, if we change the sequence of the process, we will get different uh, average waiting time. So in this lecture, uh, you understood about FCFS scheduling. So in the next lecture, we will discuss another algorithm of CPU scheduling. If you liked the video and if you understood the topic, please subscribe our channel and like the video. Thank you so much.